Om. गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णु गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरु साक्षात् परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः. We are in Amrutanubhav, sorry, we are in Jnaneshwari, verse number 37. Yattadagre vishamiva pariname mrutopamam tat sukham satvikam proktam atma buddhi prasadajam. Here it said, that that which is first like venom but like nectar in the end, and which arises from the purity of mind, that happiness is said to be of sattvic quality. I think we did up till
783 Swamiji.
783. Okay, हाँ, the सुषुम्ना का करना था ना. हाँ, yeah. So here, as in all such ways, O Arjuna, in order to gain spiritual pleasure, one has to bear initially the discomforts resulting from the practice of self-control and sense restraint. Naturally, I gave all those examples last week. When one starts doing japa, like not today and day before yesterday, I went to 1,000 step after so many months, and to check out if my hip is okay. I went up, came down. Tuesday night, gone, fully exhausted. Today again, much better. Now next time I go, it will be even better. But first time itself, that day we are complaining, oh my God, how much more to go, how much to still walk, and oh my God, it's so steep. And today we didn't even come to know. When we came down, we don't know. When we reached, we don't know. Hari Om, Hari Om, Hari Om, पहुंच गए ऊपर. तो इनिशियली तो पेन होता है. If you do sadhana, we were telling last week or yesterday's class that when you do sadhana, when you start doing japa, your mind throws up more garbage than in a normal time. So you say, why did I start doing japa? To experience this. I was better before doing japa. But if we persist with it, if we continue with it, eventually it will lead to purification. The same thing, yama, niyama, when we practice, see, it will make you a better person. It will make, and what is better person? An integrated mind brings about a better person. See? And to bring that about, some hard work has to be done. Some old habits have to be given up. And therefore, he says, it is only when intense dispassion towards worldly pleasure wells up in the heart, it pulls down the hedge between worldly existence and heaven. See? Yesterday, I was telling you, no? Yesterday only. With regards to, कौन आ गया बीच में? With regards to body, what is your journey at the physical level? What is dispassion at physical? Yeah, exactly the same words we used yesterday. Dispassion with gross body or the physical being. is to move individual from individual waker Vishwa to Vaishwanara, to Virat. That is dispassion. So you have to give up your attachment to this body and everything associated with this body. Then you will be that physical, that being, that cosmic being which is inclusive of everything and everyone. What a wonderful goal to aspire for. See, वो सिर्फ पूजा करने से नहीं आएगा, उसको you have to just by घंटी बजा के doing आरती, putting agarbatti, that is not going to bring it about. It requires a shift here in your belief system. What you believe you are. If you believe that you are individual, you can never be the total. If you believe you are the total, then there is a possibility. Then work towards it. Then don't fall down into attachment with at the physical plane. Then dispassion towards the subtle world or the subtle body is going from the dream state or the consciousness at the subtle level or dream state is called Taijasa at the individual level, and at the totality level it is called Hiranyagarbha or the Mahat Tattva. And dispassion, that means we don't go to sleep, we remain awake when the causal plane of consciousness, causal plane expresses itself. What is causal plane? Deep sleep. What is deep sleep? Empty mind. We only know empty mind means go to sleep. That is individual. Consciousness at deep sleep, at causal level is called prajna. And what is the consciousness at the total causal level? It is Ishvara. And what are you made up of? You are all three. You are physical, subtle and causal being at the same time. But you have shortchanged yourself. We as human beings or individuals, we are shortchanged. We only take the physical being as the reality. We don't take the total package. Only 1/3 package we take. And that is the waking state. That is the physical state. The dream state and the deep sleep state, theek hai yaar. No, all three make you one. All these three are your expressions only. Now, instead of going in and out and in and out of these three planes of consciousnesses, or migrating from the Vishwa to Taijasa to Prajna to again the Vishwa, waker, dreamer, sleeper, waker, dreamer, sleeper, shoot out. And you will shoot out to where your attention is. Is your attention on the total physical, the cosmic being, Virat? Or is it on the total subtle being, which is the Mahat Tattva? Or is it the total causal being, which is the Ishvara? At least go there, if not Parabrahma Paramatma. Point is expand. Don't remain crystallized as the individuality. Expand the individuality to include all individualities. So here when he says, it is only when intense dispassion towards worldly pleasure wells up in the heart, it pulls down the hedge between worldly existence and heaven. And what is that veil which is pulled away? That hedge, the demarcation line, which is separating the physical world and the heavens. Here heaven, understand whichever. Either you take it as transcendental, either you take it as Vaikuntha, either you take it as Satyalok, or you take it as Indralok. doesn't matter. But what is that line? How will that line get कैसे मिटेगी? How will it get rubbed away? It is only through dispassion. Then what happens? Then you see that everyone, you are expressing through everything and everyone. What would be that experience like? You can't even imagine. You can't even imagine. When he listens to discourses on discriminating knowledge and practices hard vows and rites, the intellect, etc., are sorely tired. One has to swallow the currents of prana and apana by the mouth of the Sushumna Nadi. Here he is saying when he is trying hard, meaning putting efforts. Who is putting efforts? The ego is putting efforts. The seeker meaning wherever there is ER, seeker, hearer, meditator, chanter, listener, speaker. All this is ego only. And ego knows only one thing. Karta, bhokta. Doer and enjoyer. So it is doing. And if it has a big goal in front of it, then it will work hard towards it. And what is the hard work? He is seeking that which he is already. The seeker, the individual, is seeking that which he is already. But he is imagining what? From individual physical to total physical, individual subtle to total subtle, individual causal to total causal. And remember, waking, dream and deep sleep, sattva, rajas and tamas. Again, play of the three gunas. And so is at the totality level. Consciousness expressing through total causal level, causality is called Ishvara. See? So he has to, and when our goal is to merge with someone, when our goal is to realize, when our goal is to go to heavens, when our goal is to go to Satyalok or go to Vaikuntha, we will put hard work. We'll do incessant japa, we'll do pranayam, we'll do, and what is here he's saying, doing pranapan, lom anulom karte raho, and kundalini, keep pushing the coccyx so that the kundalini opens up, the sushumna opens up. This is at the physical. When our attention is on the physical, then we will practice it like that. When our attention is on the subtle, how will you practice? How will your sushumna open? Physical sushumna is in your spine. For that you have to do pranapan and you have to do the various counts, and with that outgoing breath you pull your anus in and you push the coccyx as if you hit it like that with a inward pull. And if you keep doing it, something will happen. You will observe. Do it. There will be pain, there will be discomfort, but if you persevere, eventually you will experience many things. You will experience hot lava, you will experience ants crawling, you will experience a toad. What does a toad do? Toad jumping along your spine. Then you will hear some sounds. You will feel different chakras pulsating. Many things happen. But you have to persevere. You have to put very, very hard work, because you think you have to raise the kundalini. You have to open the sushumna. At the subtle level, at the pranic level, let's go to the pranic level or subtle level or mind level. At pranic level, your attention will be between the two breaths. That's how you open the sushumna. At the mental level, thought level, your attention will be between the two ohms or the two mantras or two thoughts. That will be the way to open Sushumna. Sushumna opens up only when there is integrity. Integrity is where there is synchronization. Synchronization is not when you look at the world and want to achieve something in the world. Synchronization, integrity comes about when your attention is on the higher. Then integrity comes, whether at physical level, subtle level or causal level. Whom you consider yourself to be. So if you are considering yourself to be the physical body and you want Ishvara, then for you Ishvara is not the Nirgun Nirakar. For you Ishvara is the Virat Roop, the Vaishvara, the cosmic being, in whom the whole creation is, which was presented to Arjuna in the 11th chapter. He couldn't handle it. You will also not be able to handle it. Prepare. We have to prepare for that, no? So it's hard work. So here he says that when he listens to discourses on discriminating knowledge and practices hard vows and rites, the intellect, etc., are sorely tired. Many people, I'm not talking about you. Sometimes it happens in our retreat also. Sometimes someone starts snoring. Sometimes someone just dozes off because 3-4 classes every day, and you are listening to one class a day, maybe twice a week or thrice a week or once a week. But suddenly you come to a retreat with all enthu. Your enthu is not about satsang. Your enthu is escaping from Melbourne. But there you have to sit 1 hour, 1 hour, 15 minutes. We try to keep it 1 hour, but 1 hour to remain focused, class after class after class after class. That stamina is not there with everyone. So somewhere along the way, after 10-15 minutes, because the concepts, I have heard Swamiji has said that before, chalo bhai, so yeah. It is good in one way, because you have come to be happy, so you are happy. Sleep is bliss. Ignorance is bliss. So here when he says that intellect gets tired of thinking, when do we reach a barrier in our thinking? When we are thinking mechanically. Same thing will happen with japa also. But when we are listening to a satsang, and we keep reminding this to myself and to yourself, to my mind and your mind. And what is that? Be subjective. Be the witness who is witnessing that hearing is taking place, understanding is taking place, knowledge is taking place, non-understanding is taking place, or something you are not clear about. Observe. Don't take it personally. Don't take it subjectively. Understand. That is the journey of the mind. Mind doesn't understand. Okay, it will understand someday. What you didn't understand many years ago, now you understand. Many things you thought you understood many years ago, now you don't understand. See? And such is life. Such is mind, and life is mind. Life is mind. And who are you? Are you the mind? No, you are not the mind. You are the eternal witness. You are the Sakshi. But when you don't accept yourself as the Sakshi, or you are not ready to surrender to some higher, then it becomes mechanical. then it's just information, then it's just data. And how long we will keep listening to the same thing, Brahman Brahman, अविद्या काम कर्म कर्ता भोक्ता. ठीक है यार, काफ़ी हो गया, कितना बोलोगे यार. चलो, I came to enjoy. Swamiji, can we have a break and let's go for a walk somewhere? See? तब ऐसे होता है. So here when he says that the intellect is so very tired, it gets exhausted. And when intellect gets exhausted because it's not subjective in its approach, then what will happen to the intellect? It will go to sleep. You think you are going to samadhi. You have perfected the posture. Eyes closed. Satsang shuru ho gaya. Eyes closed. Before you know, your body is still. You have learned how to make it still. And you have nicely gone to sleep. Every now and then, yeah, something, suddenly you wake up, some question, again go back to sleep. Practices are very tired. One has to swallow the currents of prana and apana by the mouth of the sushumna nadi. One has, did we do this? No, we have to read this, no? 80 to 85. 80 to 85. I think we read it, but we can read it again. 80, 81. Taya pari pandava jaya sukhaचारे गावा विषमते थमेळावा यमदमांचा देत सर्व स्नेहा मिठी आंगी ऐसे वैराग्य उठी स्वर्ग संसारा कांठी काढितची विवेक श्रवणे खरपुसे जेथ व्रताचरणे कर्कशे करिता जाती भोकसे बुद्ध्यादिकांचे सुषुम्नेचे नितोंडे गिळिजे प्राणापानाचे लोढे बोहणीये सीची येवडे भारी जेथ जे सारसाही विघडता होय वो हाहुनी बस्त काढिता नाभणंगू दवडिता भाणयावरुणी. So he's saying here, we said already few verses we have already done out of these five what do you call sentences. He says one has to swallow the currents of prana and apan by the mouth of the sushumna nadi. One has to suffer such great hardship from the very beginning. Intense grief is suffered by the Charvaka pair at their forced separation, by the calf when it is dragged away from the cow's udder, or by the beggar when he is removed from his dining plate. And when we are at the doorsteps of Vanaprastha, and I have to live with my husband as a brother and sister. Oh, it's so, how can that happen? It is very painful. How can I live without thinking of my children and not talking to them and not wishing for them? And it is painful because you trained yourself that way for all your life. And that training was wrong training because nobody told us. One leg in the world and one leg in the spirituality. It will only give pain. With body identification, when we do the sadhana, it can only invoke hard work. Even when we are inspired by the goal. What is the goal? I want to go to heaven. Hard work. सुबह से लेके शाम तक पूजा करते रहो, हवन करते रहो. Be like Nachiketa. Complete trust in the words of his father. He reached the Lord of Death. And we are doing Ramcharit Manas and Upanishad and Rudram and Abhishekam and Tirtha Yatra and this and that, all in the name of spirituality. How foolish we are. how misguided we are. You can do all this, but don't stop being subjective. Then there is growth. Then there is growth. Like children, when father and mother become father, mother only with the birth of child. Before that, they were not father and mother. They were husband and wife. They forget that. Then they begin as father and mother. Because there is a child. Child keeps growing. Are the father and mother growing? You see the animal kingdom? The child grows. What does an eagle do? Eagle builds a nest on the cliffs, on high trees, on those redwood trees right on the top. And when he will feed, the pair will feed their chooks. But when the time is right, they know intuitively what they do. You know what they do? They break their nest. And the chooks, they fall from the heights of the cliff or from the top of the tree. Deep fear. But in that fall, as they are falling down, somewhere they discover the beauty of flying, the ability to fly. See? But here, children are grown up. We are still holding on to our children. My puttu, my kunnu, my kanna, my pappu. How will we grow up if that is the hook which is keeping us at the earthly plane? So what Jnaneshwar Maharaj is saying is that as long as we consider ourselves to be the physical being or the subtle being or the causal being, it requires hard work. It's exhausting. You do sadhana, you get some height, you get some powers, then you stop the sadhana, everything gone. What have we done from childhood till today? We eat from the up from the top and defecate from the bottom. Breakfast, lunch, dinner, breakfast, lunch, dinner, breakfast, lunch, dinner. All life. Is that what all life is about? Or there is something more? Does it mean we should not do sadhana? Let's see what Jnaneshwar Maharaj says. So he says here, one has to suffer such great hardship from the very beginning. Intense grief is suffered by the Charvaka pair at their forced separation. See? Many people leave the home in sudden dispassion. Someone just passed away, someone whom I know, and they came back from the cremation. Life is nothing. I am going to give up everything. Today he is still counting money. What was that? That's called Shmashan Vairagya. When you go to a cremation, you see the ephemerality of this life. How short is this life is. How sudden the death can come. Within 6 months that lady was gone. Nothing is permanent in this world, not even this body. But when you are at the crematorium, it all dawns. It dawns like a sledgehammer on you. For how long? For one night. And next morning again you are counting your bank balance. See? Because we don't want to give up. To give up is painful. The pain is experienced by the calf when it is dragged away from the cow's udder or by the beggar when he is removed from his dining plate. See? So these are two examples given. What would be the feeling? We sit in front of our, I want darshan of Bhagwan. अरे तुम्हारी औकात क्या है? What is your qualification that you want darshan of God? You are wishing, that's all. Have you surrendered? Or you're only trying hard and hard practice. Tapasya you're doing, hard, I'm doing how many? 22 malas every day. But where's devotion? Without devotion, 22 malas have no meaning. If you are doing pranayam mechanically without being subjective, pranayam has got no meaning. You have to go become subjective. Or you have to surrender to the higher, to the Lord. See? So 786th. पय माये पुढवनी बाळक काळे नेता एकुलते एक होय का उदक तुटता मीना तैसे विषयांचे घर इंद्रिया सांडिता थोर युगातु होयते वीर विराग साहाती ऐसा जया सुखाचा आरंभू दावी काठिण्याचा क्षोभू मग क्षीराब्धी लाभू अमृताचा जैसा पाहिलया वैराग्य गरळा धैर्य शंभू ओढवी गळा तरी ज्ञानामृते सोहळा पाहे जेथे पैकोलिता ही कोपे ऐसे द्राक्षांचे हिरवळपण असे ते परिपाकी का जैसे माधुर्य आते. He says, or by the mother whose only child is snatched away by death, or by the fish which is taken out of water. In the same way, the sense organs feel that the end of the epoch has come when they have to part from their objects. If we don't get our dosa the way we want it, the tongue is not happy. What to do? If the investment doesn't give us the return, the mind is not happy. If the cloth is not ironed properly when we wear, eyes are not happy. The skin is not happy because it doesn't feel, अरे यार प्रेस होना चाहिए फर्स्ट क्लास तरीके से. It should look new, good to the eyes. So both the senses. So all senses are attached. Ears are attached to music. When it doesn't get its music, what is this karkash sound? Gadha bol raha hai. Each sense is attached to its stimuli. Each sense. And there are so many stimuli, but it has selected. I like this type. I like to hear that type of music. Like today I was going with this girl from home. She was there with me. She is in her early 20s or mid 20s. But she enjoys the songs from 80s and 90s. So she was singing, she had put that on and I was dancing away while driving. Because that's our age music. See? But why does she like the old music? Why not the present day music? She is the girl of today's times. What can you say? Each one has its own. Someone enjoys wearing cotton, someone enjoys wearing silk, someone enjoys wearing polyester. Someone enjoys putting oil on the skin, someone enjoys putting cream on the skin. Someone enjoys keeping the hair dry like the British Prime Minister, all jungli, Rakshas. He's like a Gana. But other people, they are so well groomed. And whenever, just like a small child, if you try to take away what it is playing with, it's in pain. Oh, immediately, so Ganga, Jamuna, Saraswati is flowing. Why? Oh, something that is dear to him, that is being taken away. Just as this person who just passed away, the husband, he was very distraught. Woman can live without man. Man cannot live without a woman. He is totally broken. See? So here Jnaneshwar Maharaj is saying, is giving these examples that, where are we? Or by the mother whose only child is snatched away by death. Okay. Or by the fish which is taken out of water. It's troubling, it's painful. When Ramakrishna Paramhams, he didn't take the fish out of water. He put the head of Vivekananda into the water. Because he asked a silly question and he didn't trust the master. He says, have you seen God? Yes. Can you show it to me? Acha vecha. You want to see? Come, I'll show you. He didn't tell him to go to pilgrimage. No. Caught his head. That frail master had such immense strength because Vivekananda was very well built. Caught his head and put it into the Ganges. And as much as he may try, he couldn't come out of the water. And then after 20, 30, 40 seconds, when he pulled him out, what was the thought that was going in your mind? Air. When you think like that about God, then you will see God. Otherwise, you cannot see. That focus is required. That clarity is required. That single pointedness is required. That ananya chintayanto mam. Ananya chintayanto mam. You have to the exclusion of everything, then you have to think about him. So Vivekananda was to the exclusion of everything, he was thinking about air. Have we come in our life to that point where to exclusion of everything we are thinking about God? Or of the self? Or it's only, theek hai, let's keep rocking both sides. Or the mother, just like in Sydney, I know one girl, poor thing, even after all precautions, she drove her four-wheel drive on top of her own child, 1.5-year-old. The head was crushed. Now she has got another baby. The pain is somewhat less, but loss is loss. That only a mother can experience. But she is 9th Dan in martial arts. 9th Dan, that's the highest. You must have heard yellow belt, blue belt, brown belt, then brown 1, brown 2, brown 3, then black 1, black 2, black 3. Then comes first Dan, then second Dan, then third. She's 9th Dan. To come to 9th Dan, you have to be clear as to who you are. So she was able to handle it much better than many other people. She did cry, she was in grief. But how painful it is, even for her who is so well prepared in her mind. 9th Dan. Or by the fish which is taken out of water. What is it thinking about? I want water. Vivekananda was thinking, I want air. Fish saying, I want water. What are you wanting? To listen more? To do sadhana more? To want God? But the moment lecture finishes, acha yahan chalo ab nice coffee, let's have a coffee. God gone. In the same way, the sense organs feel that the end of the epoch has come when they have to part from their objects. And therefore, you will see many people, they cannot meditate. Many people cannot keep their eyes closed for more than 2, 3, 5 seconds. Many people, if they are left, what is this mental problem during these lockdowns for last 2 years? Inability of people to remain with themselves. They want sensory stimuli. They never learned. Either when their eyes are closed, they'll keep imagining, but how long can you imagine? Or they continuously, they want to go window shopping, they want to eat this, or they want to do that, or they want to go for a drive, or they want to, something they want to keep doing. But you ask them to sit quietly for 5 minutes, they can't. It's as if it's a great punishment for them. And that punishment is what Jnaneshwar Maharaj is telling, that as if in the same way the sense organs feel that the end of time has come when they have to part from their objects, yet being free from attachment, they face that pain with great courage. So by bearing hardship at the very beginning, they attain to supreme bliss, as the god secured nectar by churning the sea of milk. Today we are talking to someone in the morning, and in that something was being told, and we said, oh, what if young people before marriage they come to know all this? This was our Gurukul system. It was, you were told what the goal of life is. You were told how to earn wealth. You were told that even when you are in Grahastha, don't be too attached to Grahasti. Perform everything will unfold the way it is to, you keep your attention on the infinite. Today the education system doesn't teach us. Today the education system doesn't teach the youngsters how to behave. It reprimands the parents if they correct their children. That is why it is called Kali Yuga. See? So you can't correct the children. You can see where they are going wrong, but you can't correct them. Why? If they complain 0, 0, 0, gaye kaam se tum. Lucky if your children are not like that, but never know. Yet being free from attachment, they face that pain with great courage. And this is in everyone's life. Whatever our mind wants, our senses, they have seen, heard, felt, tasted, they want it, they want to remain in contact, in touch with that. But now they can't. Like a small child, it doesn't want to sleep. It will keep stretching. The child will keep pushing the boundary of sleep, because it is so attached to its toy, or it is so attached to people at home at that time. It is having good fun. But while playing, suddenly it falls and gone. But it doesn't want to. If mummy says, come, let's go to sleep, they will create a big racket, crying, hooing, and this, everything. Because they don't want to miss out. They are attached. So is our case. So when we do our sadhana of pranayam or japa, we are still attached to the world. That attachment has to be dissolved. And that dissolution of that attachment will only happen When we are trying hard, when we are practicing hard, doing japa and doing sadhana, doing meditation, doing pranayam, etc., again and again the mind keeps pulling you back into your memories. It will keep pulling back into areas where, oh, you didn't do that. It will give you sudden solutions to some of the issues that you are facing, and you will be tempted to quickly act upon them and stop the sadhana that you are doing, in case you forget that solution. Things like this happen. But it is only a trick, it is only because of attachment. So here, so it is, but if you are committed, it takes humongous strength, humongous, a deep surrender, a deep conviction to walk the path. Remember what we told before? The buddhi decides, and you require dhruti, the perseverance, the steadiness to walk that path. It doesn't come for the faint hearted. Yet, being free from attachment, they face that pain with great courage. So, by bearing hardship at the very beginning, they attained to supreme bliss. So, don't take the easy way out. A long time ago, when I was working and I got an opportunity to work in the Middle East, so without telling my parents, I got the job, took the passport, got the visa, got the air ticket, everything I got. Next week I'm flying. And I told Dad, I'm going. Anyway, but on the day of departure, my sister wrote me a poem, and she says, open it only in the plane. I said, ऐसे क्या हो गया? She has never written a poetry before. So in the plane I opened, and the poem was The Crossroad. She had titled Crossroad. I still have that original. That there are two paths and you have taken the difficult one, but certainly it will take you to the goals. I was crying all the way to Baghdad out of joy. See? So what today's people do, children do, they take the easy way out. Sense gratification, desire gratification, instant gratification. Okay, that is the word. Instant gratification. If I wish it now, I want it now. Then if you don't get it, they will create a racket. But if we are disciplined in the early years of our life, then the fruit is much greater. Go through hardships. When should we go through hardships? When we have the energy and the capacity to go through them. At this age, if you start doing pranayam, I guarantee 100 new diseases will come to you. Don't try pranayam at this age. After 50, you should not try. After 40 also, you should not try. But it's okay. If you have a teacher, you try. After 50, you should not try. Not from any one of these who are teaching in Melbourne. Certainly not. Because wo bhi kacha, tum bhi kache. You need a proper teacher who has perfected pranayam in his life. Then you practice. And don't do pranayam for stress relief, pranayam for as a help to come out of depression. It will take you more into depression. Pranayam for weight loss. This is all joke what they are doing here. Pranayam purpose is only one. Come to the divine. Catch the point between the two breaths. So when we are young, when we are in our teens, when we are in our youth, if we go through these challenges, we become dispassionate towards our passion to the world, passion of our senses to the world, our lust for the world, that is curtailed, that is pulled back, because if left loose, it will happen that way. And in your early years, by 25, 30, if we have learned to control our senses, we have learned to control our mind, oh ho ho ho, then rest of the life, you see how wonderful the life will be. And I'm not talking just controlling. Control is one thing. Doing japa, doing your meditation. Yesterday one young boy called me. I know he used to come to my classes when he was young. Now he's about to finish his degree. So he's saying, Swamiji, I see the whole world so divine. I see as if the self is expressing through the trees, through the people. I said, my friend, you are in love. He says, how did you know? Then he told me that he has moved out of home and I am staying with my girlfriend. I said, oh good, naturally you will speak such language. Twinkle, twinkle, little stars everywhere. Huh? But he's doing all that, but he's following probably Sadguru or whatever. He says, I do Shambhavi Mudra, this happens, that happens, this happens. I said, ठीक है, ये सब प्यार में होता है, चिंता मत कर. तो अपनी साधना कर. Keep doing your sadhana, whatever they have taught you. See? But before he started doing all this, from last how many? 4, 5 years, 6 years? He has been practicing. His father also practices. His grandmother was a yoga teacher in Pune. But so it's there in the family. So he's practicing and keeps taking guidance every now and then when he has got some questions. But the fact is that he has learned to control his senses and his mind. He is able to sit in meditation for 1-2 hours at a stretch, body not moving. It's a great feat. For body not to move for half an hour, 1 hour, it's a great achievement. That is a normal person doesn't. Even in satsang, you will see you are sitting here for 1 hour. How many times you keep shifting position, or are you locked into position? It takes. So it will serve him. Throughout his life, this training will serve him. Similarly, that drug addict who lost his way, came out of it, now he is teaching other people how to be free of drugs. He's not even 32, 34. He got into the wrong way in his teens, came out of it at around 25, 26 years of age. For last 5, 6 years, he's steadfastly, dhriti, steadfast, persevered to improve himself, committed to it. And if I make you read his SMSs, it is like I am that, Nisargadatta Maharaj or Ramana Maharishi. Those type of words are there. So transformation is possible. So what I'm here telling, in the young age, to go through, if I was a drug addict at this age, for me to wean off the drugs, it would have been very difficult. At young age, the energy is there, the zest is there, the willpower is there, the courage is there. You feel you are larger than life, and you have not lived life for 50 years. You have lived life only for 25 years. So less memories. So very quickly you can change your gears. All you have to do is be focused on something, and you will change. That focus took you to drugs. Now that again a new focus will take you out of it, and see, it's as simple as that. You focus on your husband, you behave as wife. You focus on your child, you behave as mother. What sadhana was required to do that? No sadhana to shift roles. So for whatever reason, we got into smoking, we got into drinking, we got into desire for the world. But how do I come out of it? Hey, you know how to come out. You have that ability. How do you come out of being a wife and being a mother to being a mother? That's the way you come out of the senses and focus on the infinite or on the Lord. When we start doubting it because of too much information, because of too much in thinking, because of we have read too much, when we start doubting that no, I can't do it, now you start working hard. You create a journey where there was no journey required. So here he is saying that yet being free from attachment, they face that pain with great courage. So by bearing hardship at the very beginning, they attain to supreme bliss, as the god secured nectar by churning the sea of milk. Who were the gods? Could gods by themselves churn the ocean of milk? No. Could the asuras churn the ocean of milk? No. So good thoughts and bad thoughts both needed to come together in order to churn the ocean of milk. What is ocean of milk? Ocean of milk is your mind. Ocean of milk is your mind. What is Mandharachal mountain? Mandharachal mountain is the witness, or whatever you are contemplating upon. And what is the adhar of that what you are contemplating upon? That is the witnessing consciousness, the Kachapa. The Lord Narayana only appeared as Kachapa. Lord Narayana only appeared as Mandharachal mountain. So what is without which the churning would not have been possible? And what was the churning was done by the gods and the devas and the asuras. Both good thoughts and bad thoughts, both are required. Your doubts and convictions and courage and failures, everything, whatever, this is what the mind is made up of, opposites. And you churn, sometimes this comes, sometimes that comes. You remain focused, you don't get distracted, you will sweat, like today we were climbing up, we were sweating, the legs were paining, but we kept, the goal is to reach the top. You push through your barriers. The devas and asuras pushed through the barriers. What did they get? They got the nectar. So many things came, but eventually they got the immortal nectar. Why? Because they were committed to the Lord. Asuras were not committed to the Lord. They tried to trick. They tried to steal the nectar, and they had stolen it also. Is the grace. So when we put hard work in our young age, and whenever, you can be young now, body is old, who cares? You can be young. Contemplate. Let go of all your shortcomings in your mind, everything that is keeping you down to this earthly plane, this body, these memories, these expectations of the future, these attachments. They are not going to go away, they will always be there. Till you die, this body breathes last, all those thoughts of memories will still be there. You have to create a new, what do you call, new track in your mind, so that your mind keeps going into that track to the divine. It bypasses all that which you have already collected. Keeps going into that track. आज हम चल रहे थे तो ऑटोमेटिक हरि ओम हरि ओम हरि ओम, nothing else comes to my mind. What can I do? Because that's the track. I could have thought, अरे यार कैसे होगा, अरे यार पेन बहुत ज़्यादा है, अरे यार ये है, अरे यार नहीं आना चाहिए था, अरे यार पानी नहीं लाए, अरे यार इंडिया कब जाएंगे, टिकट कब होगा. I could have been thinking of so many things. Because data, all those possibilities are there. But only what came out because training. Hari Om, Hari Om, Hari Om, Hari Om. Create a new track in your mind. Go through the pain. It takes only 30-35 days. First 35 days will be painful. It will be hard. After that, you'll start enjoying it. As the god secured nectar by churning the sea of milk, and whatever, depending upon what your thought, what you are focused on. If you are focused on siddhis, you will get siddhis through the tapasya that you are doing, through the hardship that you are doing. If you want Indralok, then you will get Indralok. If you want Satyalok, you will get Satyalok. If you want to merge into the Ishvara, you will merge into the he will, if you become available to him, you will merge into, he will absorb you into him. If steadiness in the form of Lord Shiva comes forward to drink the venom in the form of asceticism, then it feasts upon the nectar of knowledge. See? All the poison, that halahal that came out of the churning of the ocean, first thing that comes when you start working hard, what is it? Sweat. What is sweat? All the dirt inside your body, that is only coming out. When you start doing japa, doing your rosary, what comes out? Mental pus comes out. And who drinks it? Lord Shiva. Who is he? He is a Vairagi. He is the one who has dispassion towards the world. So if you have dispassion towards the world, whatever the world throws poison at you, you will just absorb it. Dekho, suno, bolo mat. This was the mantra of Mata Anandamayi Ma. Or what Patanjali Yoga, the Ashtanga Yoga says, Yama. As our Swamiji says, do not disturb the world by your thought, word and deed, and do not get disturbed by anyone's thought, word and deed. That is dispassion. You will not be. Can you stop people from throwing abuses at you, talking behind your back, gossiping about you, speaking ill of you? You can't stop the world. But you have a choice to be disturbed or not to be disturbed. Do we have to reply back to them? No. Do you have to lodge a complaint? No. So be like Lord Shiva, remain steady. Dhruti. Dhriti in dispassion. Dhriti in indifference. Persevere through dispassion. If some deep desire comes up, don't give in to it. Remain dispassionate towards it. Remain focused on your goal. The sour taste of unripe grapes is more burning to the tongue than the touch of a firebrand. Yet the same grapes, when ripe, become sweet. See? Unripe grapes are sour. Ripe grapes are sweet. And that's what he's saying. The sour taste of unripe grapes is more burning to the tongue. So initial stages, your body, your senses, your mind, everything was on fire as you are doing your sadhana. A simple sadhana of doing japa. If steadfastly, continuously, dedicatedly you are doing it, you will be on fire. Doesn't take long. You will heat up. You will heat up. The mind will agitate. That is heating up. But only to calm down. When it has matured, when the sadhana is going deeper and deeper, you hit the jackpot. And what is the jackpot? Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Then the body cools down, then the mind cools down. Those who have done some sadhana, when you start doing meditation, when you start doing japa, initially the body becomes very heavy. Whether you are sitting cross-legged or on the chair, it becomes heavy, as if the gravitational pull is, your body becomes so heavy, you can't even move the hand here or there. But if you become afraid of that and stop your sadhana, then you will never know what was after that. What was after that? Body becomes very light. You don't even feel that you are sitting. Means you become body disidentified. That is the fruit after that. But because we want immediate results, we don't want to go, we forget how many wrongs we have committed in our life. Now we have to correct them in order to go beyond them. But because of our instant results, I have done it for 1 week, now what? कुछ भी नहीं हो रहा, हो क्या होना? कुछ भी नहीं होना चाहिए. Nothing must happen. I'm just giving you these because in the yoga marg all these things happen. Continuing, we'll just quickly conclude this. हाँ, अभी तो टाइम है. तै वैराग्यादिक कतै से पिकलिया आत्म प्रकाशे मग वैराग्ये सिंहि नाशे अविद्या जात ते वहाँ सागरी गंगा जैसी आत्मी मीनल्या बुद्धि तैसी अद्वयानंदाची आपैसी खाणी उघड़े ऐसे स्वानुभव विश्रामे वैराग्य मूल जे परिणमे ते सात्विक येणे नामे बोलिजे सुख. He says that so when dispassion becomes ripe in the light of the knowledge of the self, dispassion doesn't become ripe to escape from the world. The dispassion doesn't become ripe or is invoked because you went to a crematorium. Dispassion is not invoked, or you are feeling dispassion because you have become a failure in life. That is depression. That is not dispassion, because both behave the same way. Dispassionate fellow also behaves the same way, depressed fellow also behaves the same way. Symptoms are same. But depression is still attached to the world. Dispassion is detached to the world. So here he says, so when dispassion becomes ripe in the light of the knowledge of the self, when we are seeking the self, when we are seeking the Atma or the Paramatma, and in that contemplation, when our senses, our mind wean away, let go, grow out of attachment, lust, passion for the world, for the experience of the world, for imagining the world. This is only possible when we are seeking the self. Buddhi has decided, I want to know the source, the Atma. The steadiness in dispassion. Dispassion towards the world and steadiness in focus on that, what you have decided. All pain born of ignorance vanishes along with dispassion. Now tell me, every night you go to sleep, are you not dispassionate towards the world? Are you attached to your children? Are you attached to your husband or wife? Are you attached to your family? Are you attached to your house? Are you attached to your disease? Are you attached to your hunger or thirst? Are you attached to your body? Are you attached to your likes and dislikes? Are you attached to your portfolios? Are you attached to your job? Are you attached to your children? Nothing. Why? Where was your focus? On the sleep? What was the result? Dispassion towards the whole world. Dispassion towards the whole world and merging into sleep, allowing yourself to be absorbed, consumed by sleep, which is nothing but ignorance. But here, when we are doing sadhana, we are not seeking ignorance, we are seeking Atma. We have decided, I am the Atma. I want to. So everything that is Anatma, I am going to give up. And whatever is Anatma, dispassion towards it, indifference towards it, udasinata. Some people run away from the world to the Himalayas. Some people live in the world but are not affected by the world, isn't it? Can we stop the world from being the world? No. You didn't create it. It was there. It is there. We have to develop this faculty that whether we are in the world, whether the world is available to us or not available to us, we are unconcerned about it. And that type of disposition can come about only when you are fired up by something higher. When you are fired up with something that is higher, then it is possible. We are fired up with making $1,000 into $2,000. We are fired up, what is for dinner today? We are fired up with that. We are fired up with, this person is going to visit us today. We have to clean up the house, we have to make this dish and we have to make that food. Enough, man. That is still giving us excitement. When will then attention to the Atma, when will we hear to that call, the inner call? When will we hear that? When will we commit to that? When will we work towards that? The one who works towards that, and so on one hand the buddhi is thinking, the mind is focused on the Atmic self, and on the other hand it is maintaining, cultivating deeper and deeper dispassion towards everything that is changing. That is the world. All pain born of ignorance. Pain is always in ignorance only. Pain is where there is an avidya, kama, karma. Pain is where there is avidya. Pain is where, when we live life only satisfying our desires without contemplating on what the consequences could be, but we keep indulging, keep indulging, keep indulging. Indulging is desire, gratification. It will result in, the consequence is grief and pain. And third, karma. When we keep doing what we like, not keep doing what is right, eventually life gives us a big dhakka, big push, big accident. Change your course of action. Both at the manasa, vacha, kaya level, change your action. Otherwise, accident is waiting to happen. And you can see it all around you happening. But it will not happen to me. What have you done? What have we done not to happen to us? Have we changed the course of our action? Are we committed to the truth? Are we working towards the truth? Are we oblivious of what is going on in the world? Who cares if there is a third world war? Who cares whether there is a liberal or labor? Who cares who is the president of America? Who cares if there is a tsunami? I am only concerned of the truth. I don't want information about the world. It's not going to add any value. It's not going to give any impetus, a push for me to come to know the self. It's not. Complete dispassion. Commitment is required, Baba. All pain born of ignorance vanishes along with dispassion. When we come to the Atmic self, we are searching for Atmic self, we are committed to the Atmic self. When we have complete dispassion towards the world, world alone is appearing as thoughts in our mind, isn't it? Now, if we have dispassion towards the world, there are no thoughts of the world in our mind. And there we are. If there is no distraction from the world and you are awake, you are there. It's that simple. It's that simple. Don't create a journey where there is no journey. Whole goal is to quieten the mind initially. Second stage, whether mind is having thoughts or no thought, doesn't matter. I know who I am. I am the witness. Witnessing consciousness. Undisturbed by what is coming and what is going. So all pain was because of ignorance. Ignorance has vanished. You have become dispassionate. Because Atma cannot be ignorance. Atma is full of knowledge. Your focus is on Atma as the subject that I am, as I am that. So all ignorance was about what? Ignorance was about the world. Ignorance, or another way to put it, ignorance, as Jnaneshwar Maharaj says in Amritanubhav, incomplete knowledge. Apurna Jnana. Apurna Jnana of what? Apurna Jnana of myself and the world and the Ishvara. All are one. One appearing as three. Jiv Jagat Ishwar. This is Apurna. When this has not clicked, it is Apurna Gyan. When it has clicked, it is Purna Gyan. Then no thought is required. And if there is a thought, still it doesn't matter. But get to that point first. That one alone is appearing as Jiv Jagat Ishwar. Just as one woman alone is appearing as the mother, daughter and sister. One light alone is expressing as the rainbow colors. One gold alone is appearing as many ornaments. One Atma, one Paramatma alone is appearing as Jeev Jagat Ishvara. This is the culmination, this is the acme of dispassion. So, ignorance has no place. The Apurna Gyan has become Purna Gyan. Or because Purna Gyan, now what is Purna Gyan? If I were to put words to it, Sarvam Khalvidam Brahma, everywhere the self is. At that, in one go, all your desires are satisfied because there is nothing outside of you. Total satisfaction, prashanti. Desire is only when there is two. Purna Gyan is one alone is. One is appearing as Jeev Jagat Ishwar. Your experience is also, your mind alone appears as the dream world with dream people and dream God and dream sadhana, whatever. But the moment you wake up, it was just an imagination, complete dispassion towards the dream and dream relatives and dream everyone, including dream gods. The moment Purna Gyan comes, complete dispassion towards the waking experience. एक ही बार आना है बस इस जगह पे, only once. All pain born of ignorance vanishes along with dispassion, because once dispassion is, as long as you have not reached the goal of self, reached the self, you are abiding in the self. So how long do you practice not to be disturbed by the light, by the sounds, by the chattering of people when you are lying in your bed? Till sleep has not come. But once sleep has come, are you practicing not being disturbed? No. Are you focusing on sleep? No, because you have already slept. So how long you have to practice dispassion? Till you don't abide in the self as the self. And once you are abiding, there is no dispassion. If there is no dispassion, there is no ignorance, there is no karma, there is no karma, there is no desire, there is no action also. See how beautiful the whole exposition is. This is live contemplation going on. Your eyes are open, but you are in meditation at this moment. Nothing is coming and disturbing your mind at this moment. If you don't have a TV serial going on the next in front of you. Okay. So एकदम crystal clear आंखों के सामने पूरा. It's not आंखों के, it's not in front of your eyes, it is you. Yeah, there is no doubt only about it. As the river meets the sea, so intellect merges in the self, because intellect, buddhi, was convinced about the self. So, who am I? Conviction. But not looking for an answer. The buddhi thinks, I want to sleep. What is sleep? Buddhi doesn't know. It has never known. It only knows absence of objects. Where mind is quiet, there is no body identification. After waking up, it says all that. But while sleeping, it doesn't know what sleep is. Yet it seeks sleep every night. Same way, as the river meets the sea, so intellect merges into the in the self, revealing the mine of non-dual bliss. Intellect doesn't reveal. The non-dual bliss reveals itself, and once it reveals, it washes, because nothing is outside that bliss. It pervades the intellect, the mind, the senses, the world. Everything is pervaded by that bliss. And that is what I was saying. Purna Gyan is that one alone is appearing as Jiv Jagat Ishwar. How many? Many Jivas. The world is of the how big you can keep imagining. How does it matter how big it is? But our experience as long as the body is there, there will be Jiv Jagat Ishwar. But this fellow, he is neither interested with the Jiv, that is the reflected consciousness, it's a phenomena. He is neither interested in the world. He is neither interested in Ishvara, because who is Ishvara? He is reflected consciousness with reference to totality. Jiva is reflected consciousness with respect to individuality. Ishvara is reflected consciousness with respect to totality. And who is the Atma? Atma is untouched by these three. Jiv Jagat Ishwar. Now with this understanding, what sadhana, what puja, what will you do? Where will your attention be? We are not saying stop all that. You can continue. It has to drop if it needs to be dropped. It will drop by itself. We must continue. But continue with this inward focus. That is important. Perform actions in the world with dispassion. Remain ever aware of the conscious self in and through all actions. फिर तो so that which is rooted in dispassion and culminates in the peace of self-realization is said to be sattvic happiness. We are talking about sattvika sukh. This is sattvika sukh. That which is rooted in dispassion towards the world, towards the changing, towards the finite, towards the impermanent, and culminates in the peace of self-realization. So remember, Vivek and Vairagya, these are the two wings with which the ego flies to seek what is my true nature. Vivek, it is discrimination so that it remains focused on the goal, the destination. And Vairagya is not to be disturbed, not to give value, importance to that which is other than the truth. Remain focused on the truth, and everything that is untruth, that is changing, have Vairagya towards that. Then alone we will be able to reach the destination. And where is the destination? We are the destination. Then who is seeking? The imaginary one is seeking. From virtual to actual. The virtual ego is seeking the absolute self. Sattvic happiness. This is sattvic happiness. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namah. Harihi Om. Just sit quietly for a minute. Not even a minute, few moments.